Welcome to Chokeholds and Chill. I'm Jenn, middle-aged grappler, coffee addict, and proud owner of the world's ugliest armbar.
And I'm Mallory, your training partner who's always laughing, even when being absolutely smashed, submission lover, and early bird fundamentals coach.
Here on Chokeholds and Chill, we dive into the lives of our favorite sparring partners, the highs and lows of training, and what it really means to chase big dreams on and off the mats.
But it's not just about Jiu Jitsu. We're here for the laughs, the lessons, and the moments that remind us why we love this crazy sport and this crazy life.
We're here to talk about the good, the bad, and the hilarious, because let's face it, the mat teaches us more than just arm bars and mount escapes.
It teaches us about ourselves and how to navigate through life while being a part of an incredible community of people.
I mean, that's how we met.
Whether you're a seasoned competitor, a white belt finding your footing, or someone who just loves a good story, this podcast is for you.
It's about the roles we take, the people we meet, and the lessons that stick with us both on and off the mats.
So grab your gi, tie your belt tight, and get ready to roll with us.
This is Chokeholds and Chill. Let's get into it. Yeah, definitely super exciting.
This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. We haven't had just a you and me pod in a little bit.
It's been a while.
This is nice.
It's been a long while.
Kick my shoes off, make myself comfy.
It's a good plan.
All right. Welcome back to Chokeholds and Chill. Today's episode is a special one. It's a little bit different because I am going to be sitting down with my co-host, my favorite training partner, my idol, honestly. Ooh. And
the pressure.
It is my friend, Jenn.
Oh, hi.
So today we are going to walk through her jiu-jitsu journey because she just got her brown belt.
Damn, bitch has got a brown belt.
I just feel like everybody should know that I cried more over this brown belt that Jenn got than I've ever cried over any promotion I've ever had.
I have only cried with this promotion. Yeah, we'll talk a lot about that.
Yeah,
but it's pretty fucking killer.
It was so exciting, and I was totally prepared. I knew that it was happening, and I didn't think that I was going to cry. And then
same.
I just did. So anyways, we're going to walk through your journey from white belt to blue to purple and now brown.
Yes.
So let's start from day one. Let's take it from the beginning. What brought you in to Jiu Jitsu to start with, my friend Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. The husband brought me in. He coaxed me for several years, and he says, he knew that I would like it. But I thought I was going to lose my shit and hit somebody. So I know we've talked about this before, but I came because of him. I stayed for the self-awareness. I started to learn things that made me be like, oh, if I got backed into a corner, I can get away. If I have somebody grab me from behind, I know how to fight. Because, I learned some street shit. I was in a rough marriage with my youngest son's dad, biological dad, and he wanted me to be defensive of myself, not against him for some reason, but other people. So I was taught if somebody grabs you from behind, it's eye gouge first and elbow to the ribs. But now I know that's a crock of shit and it wouldn't work like I wanted it to.
Right.
So now I know I actually could get away.
Yeah.
So I stayed for that. I stayed for the long haul. I stayed because I realized that the mats were offering me something that I was missing in my life in a lot of different areas.
How would you describe being a white belt? What really sticks out to you?
That I have no idea what the fuck I was doing at any point in time. And I used to get super butthurt when people would make white belt jokes. But listen, white belts, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And that's okay. It's actually cool because you can see yourself learn. But I really thought I knew something.
Yeah. I think that it's really looking back, and when you really look back and reflect on these,
oh my God.
We had this idea to go through all of your belts, and the further along you get, you're wow, the more.
Well, I still don't know shit.
Right. I'm But yeah, so that's
but I
something
really,
that all,
really didn't know.
all white belts can take that.
Bless your hearts,
yes.
white belts. Keep coming in. We do love you.
Yeah. So like if you had to describe or like say what is one thing that really like that you learned that sticks out to you as a white belt?
I don't necessarily think that I learned anything that stands out as a white belt. I think the memories that I have from being a white belt are, first of all, there was no pressure. I didn't have to know a damn thing. It really didn't matter if I fucked everything up repeatedly. There's zero expectations, and it's actually less than that. Like nobody expects you to even show up the next day.
Yeah.
Let alone stick it out. So I think that's the pressure that I could have like maybe not put on myself as much. It was okay to not know anything. It was totally fine to be like flailing in the wind. Yeah. My training partners at that point in time, I think Jesse was the smallest one, and then it just went up from there. So we had a black belt judo guy, and I remember like learning to grapple with him. But he was probably 250.
And just for those who are listening, Jen, you weigh how much?
115.
And then Jesse is?
He's like 165 maybe.
So that's the smallest person that she was going with was still, 40, 50 pounds heavier than her. Continue.
Yeah. Even the girls, I think the girls were probably closer to the 150, 155 range at some times. But when I started, it was me and the boys.
Yeah.
Which I think is a lot of women's story. But yeah, so what I remember for white belt is mostly like as I went along, I had a lot more female training partners than I do now. So the longer I do jiu-jitsu, the less training partners that stick around. And it's very apparent now.
Yeah.
So yeah. But there's always like a few white belt and a couple blue belt women. And then they either move, but most of them quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Do you feel like that like makes you want to stick with it even more? Like being like
the
woman,
point prover?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, no, we can do this shit.
Well, and for me, it's like, it's not only that, it's the size, it's the women.
Right.
I'm old.
Right.
Like, you know, well, I mean, like in the fight sport world, especially not starting until 41.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's old, quote, old, but yeah, you know what I mean?
Is there like a day or a moment that sticks out to you that at that moment you were like, okay, I'm in this for the long haul?
The first day.
First day.
The very first day.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt too.
Yeah.
And
because
I just, it's like the love at first sight. I do believe in it.
No, I think so too. But I think that a lot of women and men too, they get that love at first sight and then they go so far in the gis, the rash guards, the this. They're training every fucking day, every class, drop-ins, no days off, no rest day. And that's when it falls apart.
Yes.
Because you're not a fucking professional athlete and your body doesn't work like this normally. But that's where when I see people coming in every single day and not missing a class and not taking time for themselves, it's only a matter of time before I never see you again.
Absolutely. It's burnout. Like,
yeah, completely.
Oh. So tell me what do you remember about the day you got promoted from your white belt to your blue belt?
Oh, Jesus fuck. Okay. It might come off sounding smidgy toxic, but it's not. So I want to clarify this right now. I know there's a lot of like crappy toxicity in jiu-jitsu. This is not the case. This is because our professor came from a school that did things this way and they were coming into a new school. And I was one of their first female promotions. So when they came in, there were several men who were already like the judo black belt. If he wanted to compete, he needed to be promoted to blue belt for IBJJF standards, period.
Gotcha.
Because of his judo ranking. Same with like a D1 wrestler can't wrestle at a white belt or can't do no-gi at white belt level.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of rules that go with that. So there were men that were getting their belts ahead of time because of their experience coming into it and their abilities in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. I think it was me and one other girl. I had to test for my belt. I had a 2-page, this is crazy. I had like a 2-page written list of things, and it wasn't just me. There were men that were asked to do this too. But I was the only woman that ended up doing it, and then they put the kibosh after that.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to test for my belt. I knew weeks before it was coming. My professor was like, you need to have this done before Christmas because we're closing for 2 weeks. So figure it out. And then I took the test. I passed the test. I still don't know how because I don't know the names of things most of the time.
I literally would still be a white belt if I was supposed to know what things are called.
There are things on that test that I've actually never trained on the mat still.
Really?
Yeah. Like even at the time, like I knew what an Ujimata was, but we didn't train it.
Right.
But I had to execute it for this test. So I had to like find partners who did know it. I'm sure I could have asked for help from the professors, but I didn't. I'm a white belt. I didn't get it.
What do you think, like percentage wise, like how many gyms you think do that, like do the test before?
I think there's probably like 50%. I know it's a pretty standard. Like some people really do that and some people don't. So like no knock on our gym, but I did get like, hey, can you come into the morning class so I can give you your belt? And everybody knows how much I fucking hate a 6 a.m. jiu-jitsu class.
Nobody likes
Sorry, Mallory.
Yep.
Except all of your students love it. Yeah. But I am not that person. So I promoted with, my husband was there and 2 other guys, Phil and Lauren. Mm-hmm. That was my blue belt promotion.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That was it. Oh, I also had to do 3 rounds after I passed the test. Did I say that?
No, you didn't.
3 5-minute rounds with people that were better than me. One had to be professor.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds fun, minus the whole test part. I'm glad.
Right, because I don't test well anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad that we don't do that. We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, we will. So yeah, that was crazy.
All right. So blue belt.
Got it.
So now you're like in there deeper. You know,
Yes.
This is when people are like, oh, you're not a white belt anymore. So now you're really in it.
This is when people think that they actually know jiu-jitsu.
Right. Yeah. So tell me about blue belt Jenn. Because I met you when you were a blue belt, but I think you had like several stripes.
Maybe like 1 or 2.
Yeah. So, yeah.
In like 2021, I still had 2 stripes on a blue belt.
Yeah. So we met in the middle of your blue belt journey.
Yeah.
So
which was a good time.
Yeah. So tell me about like baby blue belt Jenn.
Oh, baby blue belt Jenn was just as much as a hot mess as white belt Jenn. Except I used to smoke weed before bed so I could sleep because I hurt so much. So I was like, well, I know enough. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu. I'm going to start smoking before class. For me, that was like a fucking game changer because my mind was just quiet. Like I don't hear everything else happening. I still hear all the fucking shit in the room. Somebody moves on the mat, a kid scoots a chair back, somebody opens the door, like whatever it may be. I'm looking to see what's happening. I can't help it. So with weed, I was able to like look and then go back to what I was doing. Without it, I'd catch myself like thinking about other things and like, well, if this is what we're working on, shouldn't we also be working on this? Like, and I didn't know I still don't know what I'm talking about. So it was nice in a sense because I decided that my white belt, I felt like I crawled through it. I don't feel like I came out of my white belt with like a linear set of skills. I was just kind of like grabbing at ideas through there. That's not the fault of our professors. That's my brain. That's how it works. Yeah. So that took a long time for me to like mentally go through. But yeah, halfway through blue belt, about when I met you, is when things like started to chill out. And I kind of felt like I knew things. So I was doing the shit that I talk about with the burnout. I was going to every single class. We had paper tally marks. Like you put an X on the box. I didn't have any blank X's on my paper.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Right. So good, but it wasn't benefiting me at all. It was too
Right.
much. Yeah. So I still wanted to be at every single class. I wasn't taking any rest days. I had no downtime. I would train. I had the coffee shop at that time. So I'd open, I guess it was closed then, but through my white belt, I had it. So I'd open the coffee shop at 6 a.m, work all day, not go home, train at night, and get home at like 10 o'clock at night and do it again the next day. And then on Saturdays, I was working, and then I would change for class and bring somebody in to cover the front and go do jujitsu and then come back out and change up and work at the coffee shop again. So no time off. Then we took our first trip to Costa Rica there. And that was when I got a pretty decent chunk of women who had some mat time. And they kind of like put it down on me. Like, no, you can't do this much. Like, it's too much. You're training too hard. You're doing too much. And I was making major mistakes. I was accepting every single position, not fighting for anything, just kind of taking it and then working from the accepted position. And they fixed that for me. So that was cool. So the camp showed me that it was time to like back off a little bit, take some more time to sit and talk about my rounds instead of doing the rounds.
Yeah.
And I still find that extremely beneficial. Like, I know we give everybody shit for sitting out, but I'll sit out every fucking day. I'll sit any round out because I'm going to watch what the black belts are doing.
Much away from it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I know that, especially probably more on your purple belt, but you've dealt with injuries and stuff, which we'll talk more about that. But I mean, you are, I feel like, always there, whether you're hurt or not, and at least like watching. And I feel like that has so much to do with how terrifying you are to fight. Because it's like you see all this stuff, you see all these things, and you're like, oh, I love that. I could fucking do that. And I feel like you have like these little things that you've picked up from all of like these amazing different people. and it's just like all tied together, and it's like your style, and it's just fucking scary. Aww. Like, you're an animal.
A very small rabid dog. It's like a chihuahua.
Yeah. So what would you say, like, one thing that you learned about yourself during your blue belt life?
I don't think I realized it at the time, and I don't know that I like fully learned it at blue belt, but I started to learn to take care of my body. I started to learn that not fueling efficiently, not doing full rest days, which I still very much struggle with. I started to learn that you couldn't just train every single day 100%. I could train a little bit less so and still be totally present on the mat, and a good training partner still. But I learned how to start taking care of myself because I didn't do that ever before.
That's like
ever.
Yeah, I feel you there. I feel like that's kind of when like I got to blue belt, I started taking myself more seriously.
Because you started the same kind of thing. You started doing a program and stuff too on top of the jiu-jitsu.
So yeah, and blue belts, I feel like a very like that blue belt journey,
sink or swim,
is it's really quite something. So,
but do you think that's why? Yeah, I don't want to cut you off.
No,
do you think that's why people quit at blue belt? Is
That's-
because you have to start taking care of yourself differently in order to keep moving forward in the sport?
Because isn't there like a blue belt curse that people joke
Right,
around?
they all
get
quit.
their
The blue belt
and then
blues.
they quit.
Yeah.
And I think that it's either like, I know with us, it's like we get blue belt, and like I feel like that's more motivation to keep pushing ourselves.
Yeah.
And then for some people, it's like, I'm not a white belt. I made it past a white belt. Like, I'm good now.
Yeah. And that's cool if that's the goal you set. So maybe that's the difference, is that's the goal that they set. And that's cool because it is a lot.
Yeah.
But I do see a lot of blue belts starting to decide how to care for themselves differently.
Yeah.
If they continue on in the sport.
Yeah.
And I wish they would do that if they're quitting too.
So, blue belt, good times, and then you became a purple belt.
Yeah.
I remember this day. But let's talk about it, because that's a big one. Going from blue to purple, it's like, ooh, halfway there kind of, but not really.
And I think I expected when I got my purple belt to feel like my brown belt did. I thought that when I got my purple belt, it was going to be like, I've hit this like milestone marker because I passed the blue belt blues. I didn't quit at blue belt. I made it through. I've never paused my membership in 7 years.
That's amazing.
You know? And I did it, but it didn't feel that way at all. It was just kind of like, okay, now what? Like I have to prove myself more. I have to work harder more. But I think a lot of like imposter syndrome at that time too.
Yeah.
Just because life at the same time was fucking weird. Yeah. I don't know. What was your question though? How did it feel getting that belt?
Yeah.
It just felt really happy, but like you'll watch the video and I'm happy, but I'm very like, okay, cool. Thanks.
Like you had a lot of shit going on during that
was
purple
the
belt
start.
chapter.
Yeah, the purple belt
life.
chapter, I feel like the whole time frame was like, ugh.
Do you want to talk more about that?
We can talk a little bit.
That belt journey.
Yeah, let's talk a little about that.
Because I know that it was, obviously it's a huge like jiu-jitsu journey, but like you bring everything to the gym.
Right.
Like, and it affects like we would all be fucking lost and crazy without jiu-jitsu to like heal us and calm us, right?
It's everything.
It's everything. So so the purple belt chapter was big for you. So.
It was big. It was really physically, emotionally, and mentally hard. I was still am, I guess, but like we're on the backside of it now. But going through a lot in my personal life, just completely outside and separate of jiu-jitsu. And I like to think I left it at the door, but no, it comes to the gym with you. Like it's still there. It brings it. So there was times that I was like, don't cry on the mat. Don't think about this. And like sometimes like even during coaching, I would just be like, like trying to like change my train of thought to like get it off life. So it was like, okay, stop talking so I can start doing jiu-jitsu because I'm going to forget what we're doing, which I think is probably a big part of why I had trouble really grasping what was happening. I felt like at purple belt it was really, really hard for me to understand the coaching sometimes. And I think it has a lot to do with being emotionally distracted and unavailable.
Yeah.
So that belt, I had injuries all through every single belt. It's genetic. I've got loose ligaments and old injuries. So knees, shoulders, ankles, whatever. Purple belt, my purple belt injury was, it was day one in Costa Rica. We've talked a lot about it on this podcast so far, but I use that as a time to visually learn jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So all of the injuries that happen, I take it as an opportunity to sit and I still go to class and I watch everything. The hero camp that I couldn't train at, I had the opportunity to sit and watch a bunch of the black belts like break down different movement and they were training, expand on things. Like, so I didn't feel that I lost anything by not physically doing that camp. I used the stuff that they taught. I just didn't do it then, right? So I still got the information. The day I got my brown belt, my daughter was sentenced to prison for 2 years. And that morning, so I am psychotic. So I'm always just making jokes about everything because that's how I get through life. And so my father-in-law and I were driving to court that morning making jokes. He knew I was getting it too, and he didn't tell me. But I was like, I think I'm going to fucking get my brown belt today. And my daughter's going to go to get sentenced to prison today. Like, I'll never forget this day, right? So we're laughing about that. And then she gets it. And then I go see her that afternoon and her and I are joking. I was like, wouldn't this be the shit? And she's like, it has to happen this way. This is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
So we laughed about that. And then I knew I wasn't going to see her. Like, I don't know when I'm going to see her again. But she's better. Yeah. Like she's almost 6 months sober now. Like next week, she'll be 6 months sober and she's going to change her life. So I'm proud of her for what she's doing for herself. But I also feel like I've been trying to drag this bitch to the gym from day one and she knows it. And I feel like she is such like an intertwined part of my jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's that.
So it's kind of special because the two of you are kind of starting this new chapter at the same time.
Yes.
And it's going to be good chapters for the both of you.
Yes.
I can feel that.
There's a lot of pressure to both chapters and both of us have to perform in order to be successul at this. So,
and you will.
We're on a parallel.
And you will.
We're holding each other accountable.
So tell me more about like that feeling, because I like was like goosebumps, like tearing up because I knew it was coming, and I just like looking at you and your response, and it just made me so happy. Like, tell me that feeling, like when Professor called your name, and then our other professor was saying like the nicest words about how like you're such a dedicated, strong, woman that everybody in our gym can like look up to you. And
it's so weird.
It's amazing.
I don't feel that about myself. So it's like really, I'm going to cry again. Because, okay, let me back up. Yeah. So I don't see myself the same way, right? Like I'm on these mats fighting for my life. Like you guys are like, oh, she's so tough. And I'm like, fucking, I barely made it through that round and that round and that round, but you're brand new. I'm gonna come kick your ass now. So, everybody's tough and they really make me work hard. So I don't see myself like the way that other people see me. So it's interesting to hear that dynamic. It's nice to hear that, but, I'm still learning to like view myself the way that other people do. So at that moment, I knew I was going to get it because I talked about it that morning. My father-in-law walks in the door to the gym, and I was like, Jesse's sitting next to me, but I'm looking straight ahead because I'm not going to like look, right? And I said, why is your dad here? And he smirks, and I was like, son of a bitch, because he told me that he needed to talk to Professor, and if Professor was going to promote me, then he's going to change his work schedule. And he did change his work schedule, but then he told me that it wasn't because I was getting promoted. So I thought, okay, well, maybe he's getting a stripe because he's brown belt too. And he doesn't have any stripes yet. So I was like, okay, he might be at that point. So I literally knew this is happening all day. I've talked about it. I knew for probably like a week that it was going to happen. But in the moment, it was so, it's like, I felt like I did it. Like, okay, hang on. I felt like I did something most people can't do.
Yeah.
Finally, So, and I'm hitting the microphone. So I couldn't look at Professor Katie.
I know.
I couldn't look at Professor David. I'm standing there like trying, like I am right now, like trying not to cry, trying to keep it together. And I'm like breathing and like just holding the tears in. And it still hasn't like really sunk in. But I think with it comes a different responsibility. And I don't feel like I have a responsibility to these motherfuckers on the mat. I have a responsibility to myself.
Yeah.
Because I've learned that brown belt is the first thing that people that don't do jiu-jitsu know that it's a big deal. Like if you say, oh, I've been training forever, oh, I do, whatever, that's fine. But when I have like men that I don't see on a regular basis and I don't really talk to that much, or old coworkers or friends or whatever, like that don't even give a shit about anything in my life. We don't talk about stuff, but then it's like, I just wanted to tell you, congratulations on your brown belt. Like you come and seek me out to say that. That's when I realized like, okay, it's a big fucking deal.
Yeah. Dude.
And I'm letting myself feel like it's a big fucking deal because I don't do that.
You should. And I love that for you so much because I can genuinely say I don't think that I would be where I am right now if you were not one of my training partners, and I'm gonna get emotional about it. But I remember when I first finished my fundamentals class and I joined the regular classes, I was so intimidated by you, Jen, because you were such a badass, and you were just like, well, and like you, it now like kind of makes sense, right? You were in like your period where you were like there, like every day. So I was like so intimidated by you because you worked so hard and you're always there, which it was like very inspiring to me.
Yeah.
Like, but
now we know better, right?
So like, thankfully, I stopped being a little scared of you.
There's nothing to be scared of.
Like, I know. Yeah, I know that now. I was just so scared of you then. But yeah, I would not have a purple belt right now if I did not have you. And I admire you so much. Like,
I remember the first time that we trained together.
Did you hate me?
I didn't hate you, but I think you thought that I did. Now I know it's because of autism that I came across this way. But I remember we were doing like sit up, like hip bump sweep or something from the closed guard. And you kept like pressuring in. And I was like, okay, if you're going to keep doing this, then I'm going to do something different. So I'm going to need you to sit up.
Right.
But you're so coachable because you're like used to being, you're an athlete. You've been coached your whole life. You were like, okay, how do I fix this? And in that moment, I was like, she's going to stay. But the look on your face,
I was so nervous.
Was not happy.
I was so nervous.
I was like, what did I say wrong? So yeah, I'm intimidating, but I have like no desire to be such.
I thought you hated me.
I
was like, oh my God, she's never going to want to be my partner again.
No.
And like, I really want to be like her.
And now you know, and you're like, actually, maybe not.
If you told me back then that here we would be with our own podcast, I would say, sure. But yeah, let's rewind a second because you found out towards the end of your purple belt chapter that you were diagnosed with autism, ADHD. And like, it's like, holy cow, here you are at 48.
Yeah.
48, learning this about yourself, something that you've known forever, but not like officially.
But really, like, I didn't know.
Like, you didn't know, but you knew that you're different somehow, right?
Yes.
Or like your brand works like different than mine.
People didn't get me, I thought. But what it really is I don't get other people.
Yeah. So I think obviously that's a huge part of your life, this chapter in your life overall. But like, how does this, like, your purple belt, you learned this, now you're a brown belt, you're like this whole new person. Like you are now, tell me about this. How has this?
This has been, okay, so all of this is so weird. It's like my autism diagnosis. Well, we all knew I had ADHD. I mean, my God. 30 seconds in a room with this bitch and you're like, woo, baby. So yeah, like that was a thing, but the autism was really weird because so my oldest son was working with kids with autism and he's telling me, he's telling me that I recognizing that his youngest brother is also autistic. And I'm like, I don't know. So I start doing some research and then I'm thinking like, well, yeah, I think he is, but those are my traits too. And then I started looking into like how the kids at the gym act we know are diagnosed or that their parents have shared with us that they are. And I was like, well, I was that kid. And then I started like trying to work with the kids as if it were me, like, oh, if like, I know you want to put your hands on that person because it seems like you like to be squeezed all the time. Yes, I do like that. Okay. Not everybody likes that. We need to allow space. Like, so I'm working with the kids as if I'm talking to myself as a child.
Right. Like that's what you needed.
And it's working.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I'm going to try to figure this out. So I really did a super autistic thing, which I didn't know. Apparently normal people don't Google how to find out if you have autism and, take every clinical test that is available. There are 5 markers. Okay, I have a psych degree, so that's also part of this. So there's 5 markers for autism. We're not going to get into it. There's 5 different clinical tests that cover different markers for the behaviors. I had 98 to 99.5% probability on all of 5 tests. And I said, well, maybe it's time to talk to a professional.
Yeah.
So she confirmed. And now I know that I have to ask like clarifying questions. So I ask a lot more questions now. Even of my husband, I'll say like, I'm hearing that you're saying this. And a lot of times I get, no, that's not what I mean back. So I've learned I have to ask a lot of clarifying questions, but I've also had to, especially with text people that I don't know, I have to go back and reread it and sometimes explain myself. So I had to say like, hey, I have autism. And sometimes I say things that I think are very, very clear, but nobody else does. So if I say anything that seems off or you're not really sure what I mean, or it doesn't make sense with the context of what we're talking about, could you ask me clarifying questions?
Right.
And so far everybody's been totally fine with that, except for my family.
Yeah.
Because, I don't look autistic.
But who does, right? Like it's
Well,
that's why it's
the
a
thing.
spectrum. That's why it's called a spectrum.
But like, really, what the fuck does somebody with autism look like?
Yeah. Like
get on your TikTok, bros. Like there's
everything. Yeah.
it's like it's people. It looks like a fucking person.
Yeah.
So yeah, my family didn't talk about mental health a lot. But I think this might be pushing them into maybe seeing things a little bit differently. I'm not really sure, but I think if I had the diagnosis as a kid myself, then maybe my parents would have been able to like handle me differently.
Right.
I never knew what was wrong when I was in trouble. Like I was really asking, what did I do? Because I didn't understand.
Right.
And then I wish I would have known that for myself because I could have been a better mom to my own kids.
Right.
But now I'm just trying to wrangle these little juniors in the kids class and help them get through their hour as best they can.
Yeah. And I think that that's just so special that you're able to have that impact on the kids and like understand them and what they're feeling maybe. And that, I mean, yeah, you mentioned that like this would probably have been helped you when you were a mother and when like growing up and everything. And it's, I mean, what they say that autism is just, it's out of control now. Like it's always been here. It's just diagnosed now.
Yeah.
So
somebody said we didn't have autism in the 70s. It didn't show up to the 80s. And I was like, that's false.
That's false. Yeah, that's false.
Because I was born in 1977 and I've always had this.
Gosh, 77. That's so lucky.
Double sevens.
Anyways.
That's why we're together.
I love it. No, but so obviously like now that you know this now and looking back, it would have changed so much had you known it before. So now that you have this information and you know more about yourself and like who you are, how is this going to change like your training and how you move forward as a brown belt and how you learn and communicate with your partners or coaches?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'll figure it out, I guess, as it goes along. I know, like if I told Professor, like, guess what? I have autism. He'd be like, cool. Anyway, moving on because he gets it. Like, he knows and lives around people with the same thing. So we know it's a non-issue.
Right.
But I don't feel like I need accommodations from other people in the gym. I have to accommodate for myself in the gym. So what I've done differently is like, I don't know. I kind of just sit back and like, just try to like, I know my biggest problem with jiu-jitsu training is the ADHD, not the autism. And no, I'm not good at it because of that. It's very, very difficult. Like I don't have an easy road. I don't feel like anything in jiu-jitsu has come easy to me. So I guess what I do differently now is just try to be maybe more aware of when my body is tired, then I know that I need to take a break because I now understand that like everybody says like meltdown and things like that. But a meltdown for me is like, I say that in quotes, like I just want to just be quiet.
Right.
So sometimes in class, I'm just not saying anything and I'm just kind of quiet sitting by myself and like literally nothing's wrong. Nothing. I just need those few minutes to like ground myself. so that I can like show up for the match. So that's what I'm learning.
Yeah.
I just need mini breaks.
Well, it's been 7 years now that you've been training. So, I mean,
Yeah, it
it's
comes
not
with
like
time too.
You've been training like with this the whole time. Now it's just like confirmed. So it's like you've already kind of figured out like your techniques and what you can do to help you be able to learn in a style that works for you.
Yeah.
So now you just like, it's got to be just like validating that you're like, oh, that's why I need to learn it this way.
Yeah.
Or that's why this works for me and this doesn't.
That's why when you show me a technique and you give me like 50 different variations or options right then. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I think we always are like, oh my God, say less, right? Like give me one thing at a time. But for me, it's also like, I'm probably going to get the steps wrong the first few times I do it. And I'm going to say I hate it and I don't know how, and this is too hard. And then in 6 months, all of a sudden my body's just going to do it.
Right.
Mid-round, surprise.
And it's amazing.
Unintentional too. I promise you, I never try to do any of the things I do on the mat. They just happen.
Yeah. What would you say that jiu-jitsu overall and just this whole journey so far has taught you about yourself more than anything else?
I think jiu-jitsu has allowed me to ask questions of life, of other people. Jiu-jitsu has reminded me that I don't owe anybody anything. It has made me go back to digging deep and working harder. I always want to be the hardest working person on the mat, but that doesn't always mean physically hardest working. I'm studying everybody. I'm studying your mistakes. I'm studying your wins. I'm studying your variations of movements that people make, because I don't want to like fall behind. So I definitely do that. And it's helped me learn that about like being neurodivergent. And I already fucking hate that word. I'm sorry, you guys. I know it's a trending word. But I don't like it. I feel, I've already started to like recognize that it's a big like trigger word for people. It's a big question mark for people who don't have a diagnosis or don't have any of those behaviors. Cause really it's a bunch of behaviors.
Right.
So yeah, I'm learning who I actually am. And I think without jiu-jitsu, I never would have, like, people only talk about the autism openly in jiu-jitsu. I've never heard like if we went to a dance class and somebody said she got autism, like, ooh, like that would be like
other sports,
not okay.
You don't hear it in other sports.
No, nothing. I've never like in my life. So because it became something that was like so openly discussed, and then again, I started seeing behaviors of myself in people that were diagnosed and a lot. So yeah, it's definitely helped me do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what is your goal moving forward? Obviously, we know that down the road you will be a black belt someday. So that's obviously a goal.
Yeah.
But what is your goal for the next year or two? What do you want brown belt Jen to complete or to do or to reach for or to work on?
I want to it's not even about like jiu-jitsu. Like, of course I want to train and stuff, but I really want to be able to learn to train my mind because I'm confident that like we know that if you do something enough times, then your body starts to do it. So I'm confident that I can force myself to be able to focus differently, not better, but differently on things. And I think, because I have a brown belt now, everybody's fucking coming for me. Why, you guys? I'm the same bitch I was yesterday. But I think that viewing things that way will then allow me to better explain it to other people.
Yeah.
So that's the goal. I want to keep training and teaching.
I love that.
So, yeah.
And you're wonderful at both of those things.
Oh, mahalo.
Training and teaching. Yeah, this was a really special episode. I've loved just talking, me and you. I'm so happy to be here with you today. thanks for being my friend and my training partner. And do you have any advice for anybody who might be in a plateau or in a rough spot right now in whatever belt level they're at?
Take a break.
Take a break.
And not like the night off. Like give yourself a week.
Yeah.
Give yourself 2 weeks. Like, and then for the people that are like, I hear this all the time, especially with the people that just got their first stripe, like they think they suck. And like, yeah, we joked about that at the beginning. Like you don't know anything yet, but you don't suck. You're also not giving yourself enough time to learn things, to see success. You have nothing to measure it against.
Right.
So you have to be gracious with yourself and know that jiu-jitsu time is not the same as any other sport time. And it isn't, I mean, unless you've been doing it since you're a kid, but adults' bodies aren't used to moving this way. Toddlers move this way. Animals move this way, but adult people do not. So
it's very different.
Give yourself some space.
Oh, I love it. Good advice, my friend.
Thanks, ma'am.
I love you so much. This has been lovely. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Chokeholds and Chill.
Woo!
We will talk to you all soon.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Check us out on Instagram at chokeholdsandchillpod or shoot us a message at chokeholdsandchillpod@gmail.com. Okay, anyways.
Yes.
So, welcome back to Chokeholds and Chill. Today's episode is a little bit different because it's just me and Jen.
I love it.
And I'm pretty much going to be
We have to leave that. Words are hard. Can we just point out that Mallory's wearing a shirt that says, I like jiu-jitsu?
I do like jiu-jitsu.
It's a bad shirt too. I love it. I want to get one.
I'm so high right now.
I'm not, but it's coming. But you guys, I have to wear my readers. So I can't see you at all. And the screen looks great. So I have to make this choice of like, can I read the screen or do I look at Mallory?
Yeah, you don't have to look at me because I'm just fucking high. I'm going to edit this a lot. I mean, it's fine. No, we'll keep the good stuff.
We got to keep the good stuff.
Okay.